Welcome again to the freaking weekend. Hope you are having a wonderful weekend. Thanks for listening to us. Hey, Jeff is back and we got a very special guest today, Stephanie Rose. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited that you are joining us for this podcast. I love seeing your face and we've missed you. How are you?
I've missed you too. I feel very honored to be here. Thank you so much. In fact, when you announced this podcast, I'm pretty sure I commented, sign me up for the special guest segment. I didn't realize that would mean I would be immediately signed up for the special guest segment. But I'm happy to be here.
Oh my gosh. Well, we were so excited when you wrote that too, because it's been a long time since we've all worked together too. Yep. How have you been?
I'm good. I was saying to Jeff that, we're all News 12 alumni, so that kind of means we're able to graduate out of that experience into a new one, which is what I feel I have done, kind of moving into a new chapter of my life. Working from home, working with the family business, and now starting a family with my husband. As many people know, I am expecting in September, so yay! So I'm joining you guys in the parenting world. Very terrifying and exciting, but...
Oh my God, I love it. So how are you feeling? And, how's your pregnancy been going?
It's pretty good. I want to say I have no complaints, but I think I complain on a daily basis to my husband, but I try to keep it limited to him only that I complain. It's like, this is your role for the rest of time, so embrace it.
Absolutely. And, it's hard, especially a first pregnancy, and you don't know really what to expect with all the changes, and everybody's pregnancy is completely different. So, I'm so excited for you to be a mommy. Yeah. Jeff, I feel like I'm just like the baby pusher. Like, I was so excited when Jeff was having a baby. I'm like, when are you having a second one? And like...
Yes. Yeah. You going to put that on your business card? Professional baby pusher?
Yeah, it's like a little pressure button.
You're like a matchmaker, but with babies.
Just like my mom.
Oh my God. So September, you said your due date, right?
Yep. And the one thing I learned pretty quickly, which I guess would be my advice to all first-time moms, is avoid Facebook at all costs, okay? Unless you want to be terrified out of your mind, joining every Facebook group about like moms to be. For some reason, I find that a lot of those groups, like they just scare you. Like all these things, it's so overwhelming, right? All the things to expect. So the less you know sometimes, the better.
Yeah, and it's the same thing even like pregnancy, or even if something's bothering you and you Google it and you're like, oh my God, I'm dying.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Oh, 1000%. So did you say, was it you're having a girl, or do you know what you're having? Oh.
Yeah, a girl, little princess.
Princess. Or as I said to Stephanie in a text the other day, I said, how's the bean? And then I put in brackets like the beanette. Because it's a little girl. Luca, one of his many nicknames, we pretty much call him Bean. I think at least 50% of the time. He's a little cute. Beano. Yeah, because he was a little bean. He started as a little bean. We also call him the Gew, because that was the first noise he ever made, was kind of like Gew. It was like one of those things cute. That we call him the Gew. But
well, Stephanie, do you follow like now you're X amount of weeks and the baby's the size of a bean and then a peach and then, you know what I mean? So where are we at right now? Do we know?
We're at a small cucumber, like which I appreciate the, vegetable reference.
I'm getting hungry.
So like Stephanie, I adore, and I always have, when we work together and everything, but like you and I are complete opposites when it comes to like lifestyle, eating habits, all that stuff. And I always found it so fascinating, and just like you're really into yoga and all the organic stuff. So I just thought that was like a cool perspective to kind of bring to this podcast too, because I'm like giving my kids fast food, and you'll probably never give your kid fast food. You know what I mean? So yeah, exactly. So just to talk about, give us a little bit, a lot of people know too, but you have like a really cool background and the stuff that you're really passionate about. So tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I think the first most important thing is to say that there might be a time when I give my kids fast food. I think that ultimately, like, we're all human, right? We're all like trying our best, and the key is to find a balance. To me, the greatest lesson I learned through years of yoga practice. I started in around 2013 when I went to India for a month. Everyone in News 12 heard the India story, and I studied yoga there, and then kind of got into the health world. My husband is huge in the health world. Anyone watching right now probably follows him on Instagram if they don't even know it. So getting into those lifestyle factors, but not getting so sort of obsessed or stuck on it, like this is the only way, because then you become a little too extreme, and it becomes really upsetting and kind of difficult when you can't always find the healthiest option, or you can't always do the yoga practice or the meditation. You don't have the time. Having kids, as I'm gonna have even less time to do these things. So it's about finding the times when it's like an 80-20 rule, right? It's like, if you could do all of those great healthy things 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you kind of give yourself a little allowance to fall off the track, whatever, then you can live a more balanced life without getting too neurotic about it.
Do you guys eat meat?
We do. So I was vegan.
Yeah,
I was vegan
okay.
for a long time, but leading up to the pregnancy and in the pregnancy, I wanted to make sure, I think it's really important to give my baby the most nutrients and everything needed for development. And I was vegan for spiritual reasons, not necessarily for the nutrition per se. And this is a small phase of my life, so I don't know where I'll end up after this period. But yeah, we eat a very kind of whole foods, paleo style type of diet.
I just want to say, go ahead.
No. You say whatever. I have a question.
I just want to say that I think Corey would be very proud of me, because ever since I started following him and watching his videos and his awesome tips, I've also really discovered like weightlifting and kind of being more in touch. That's another thing that having a kid makes you do, especially for someone who has like high cholesterol in the family. It makes you be like, hey, I want to take care of my body and make sure I'm going to be around as long as possible in this child's life. So it led me to, it was kind of the whole COVID year too was kind of a wake up call, because we were inside, we weren't moving around as much. So I discovered weightlifting, and Corey's page has always been helpful, because that was the one thing, even when I started doing the working out and doing the gym, the diet, everybody always says the diet is more than half the battle.
Yeah.
Because you can work out till the cows come home, but if you're still eating garbage and putting garbage in, you'll get garbage out. So that was such a helpful page. So totally recommend for any of our fitness people out there listening to check out Corey's page.
Yeah, Corey L. Rodriguez.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give a little shout out, for the pages and everything. So okay, well then let me ask you a question. You started eating meat again because, obviously for the baby. So what was the first meat or protein that you ate? And like, did you like gag? Was it the most magical, day of your life? Or walk us through that first.
Oh yeah, sure. The transitional
Is
experience.
that what it's called?
Sure. I mean, this is the first time I'm sharing this really, widely anyway. So it's a great chance to talk about it. So for me, being vegan, I consume no animal protein. So that includes eggs, dairy, everything that comes from an animal. And one day I woke up and I just suddenly started craving eggs, like weirdly. And I had never, for the 7 years, never had like a missed anything craving or anything like that. And so I thought, well, that's weird. Okay. But I let it kind of sit in my head for weeks. And I kept thinking about it. And I said to Corey, I can't stop thinking about eating eggs. I don't know why. This is so weird. And I felt like maybe something was, I really believe in listening to your body and sort of like, we can have our philosophies and views on things, but sometimes it doesn't always diet align with what your body actually needs. Every body is different. Every body does differently on a different diet. I believe in bio-individuality, so to speak. So, so I said, all right, let me just eat them. Okay. Like, let's see how this goes. So Corey made me eggs, and I, took my first couple bites, and I swear there was like some circuitry in my brain that suddenly started lighting up, like something was happening in there, and I just had it was very bizarre. I felt it internally. So the interesting thing is I later went to get my blood work done very close to this time and found out that I was severely iron deficient, severely deficient in B12, which are pretty much the two things that come mostly from, animal proteins. I was taking supplements, but not every body does great on synthetics, or supplemental things. So,
Right.
I really in that time realized that it was time to start getting those things from whole foods, and
Yeah.
I
I
will say
I heard a
that
s-
yeah.
sorry, I was just gonna say I heard a story. It's funny that you bring that up because I heard a story today. Apparently, they're growing this new type of. They were calling it space lettuce, and I'm like, oh, is it lettuce grown in space? But apparently, when astronauts come back from space, they have things like that.
Yeah.
They have iron deficiencies and they lose a lot of nutrients, and they're actually growing this new type of lettuce that is supposedly going to put those things back. It's an
I mean,
interesting
that would be
science
great.
story.
That would be great for
Yeah,
vegans, right?
yeah.
But
So was it delicious
it
or
was delicious. I mean, look, I was vegan for 7 years. I'm 36 years old, so that
yeah, but it's
there was
still
a
a
very
long
long time
time.
of eating meat prior to that, so it wasn't like new to me per se. But the biggest thing that's important for me is that we try to buy sustainable meat, humanely raised meats, and animal products, and 'cause the vegans may come at me with pitchforks right now for saying this, right? I switched over, I left that lifestyle, but you have to you are the most important animal in the equation, right? And if your health is in any way kind of suffering, you have to do what's best for you. And I didn't want to start off going towards a pregnancy in a bad state of health either. So we
Mm.
do our best, and I don't still eat meat at like every meal and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
would say I found that balance, that 80-20 sort of balance between getting lots of plant foods and then getting the meat in kind of supplementally to get those nutrients that my body is much better now with the iron and the B12 levels and everything.
That's awesome, and that's crazy that, like, yeah, your body was telling you something, and then,
It
boy, did
confirmed
you.
it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's crazy. And you
Yeah.
know what? It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. And this is what you'll learn while in your pregnancy, once you start having, once you have your baby girl, and everybody's got to do obviously what makes them comfortable, what is best for their family and them. And
Yep.
judgment aside, you just got to be like, okay, no, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that was the same thing, like, I had difficult time, breastfeeding, and it kind of like wasn't for me. And so early on, I made the decision to just really do, bottles. And that's what worked for our family, and
Yeah.
other people are breastfeed for years. And it's kind of, you got to do what you're comfortable doing, what you think is best. And I have three healthy, beautiful, kids,
Oh, they're so
so
beautiful.
They really
they
are.
are.
They really are.
They're ridiculously beautiful.
Thank you. They want to be on this podcast so bad. They're like, mommy. Oh
What
my
Jackie
God,
just
thank
said, you learn that very quickly. Kind of, I mean, you can read all the books in the world, you can watch all the videos in the world. When the baby comes out, you're like, kind of deer in the headlights, and you
Yeah.
have to learn things on the fly. Not to say that the videos and books aren't good, because you can certainly be more prepared. It's going to help you
Yeah.
in the long run, but you kind of learn very quickly that what works for someone might not work for you, and what doesn't work for someone might work for you, and you figure it out
Or
kind of as you go.
yeah, 1,000%. Or like how you thought things were going to be, say, just even the birth of your baby. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, is never going to be the way that you really think it's going to be, and you just have to accept the fact that maybe it's going in a different direction. And as long as this baby comes out healthy and you're healthy and the baby's healthy, that's all that matters. But it's weird. You prep yourself, and you think
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever. I was induced for my first two. I never went
Wow.
into labor, and then
Yeah.
I always wanted to kind of go into labor, and then I did. after eating Pizza Hut with Lucas that I was like, if anybody tried like the cinnamon sticks, pineapple, everything, every trick that like anybody ever said
Pizza
from my
Hut.
other two, and it was Pizza Hut and the wings, the spicy wings that forced him out. You're like, no, I will not be eating Pizza Hut, Jackie.
Was it?
Who knows where I'll be at that point?
Exactly, not like a tub of ice cream, like chicken wings.
I don't know if it
I
was
love
it like dried apricots, or prunes, or something like that. They made Lana take towards the end of hers when they wanted her to start, opening the floodgates, if you will.
Dates.
But I
Dates.
think that might have been it. It might
Okay.
have been
Yes,
dates.
it is
Okay.
dates.
So,
Yeah,
now that
that's
you're
it.
not like kind of on, TV, so to speak, like how's your journey been and, your path and how you are now? And it's kind of like a recreating, kind
Totally.
of. Listen, I've been going through the same thing. So I'm just wondering, like,
know.
you seem super happy. How are you doing? How was that whole process, for you and everything?
Yeah, I think, aside from my 8 years at News 12, I had almost 3 years previous to that at Fox News, another 2 years at WeTV before that. So I was in the TV industry for a really long time, not always on TV, but as we all know, it's a very stressful industry, as are so many others, right? So I think I got really used to living in that state of fight or flight, nervous system burnout, like constant achieving and going.
Frantic at times.
Yes,
It's
yes.
a grind.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're
Churning
always
and
on a
burning,
thousand. Yeah.
like always going a million miles a minute, waking up crazy hours and then working late, super long hours, storms and driving in the snow, risking your life trying to get to work. Like when you actually reflect on it and look back, and Jeff, you're still in it. Sorry, but when you look at it, it's like you're just always in this hyper, vigilant state, right? So for me, what was really interesting when I stopped and
But
I
you were gonna drop a hyper local in there.
haha, no. When I stopped and I kind of like came to this grinding halt to work, at home with Corey and his business, now our business, it was almost bizarre for me to suddenly go at this slower pace. Like I'm sure Jackie, you can kind of relate to this. It's like I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I was like, but I'm not like constantly in a state of panic and
Yeah.
my heart's always racing. Like I'm just able to go through my day at this like kind of more normal, relaxed pace. And I think a lot of people who work in different industries and corporate businesses are always in this state of stress. It's one of the reasons why I turned to yoga. So it's almost like I didn't need the yoga as much, and being in a calmer, less anxious state was so unfamiliar to me.
That's another reason, and
Yeah.
it was kind of an unintended positive consequence of getting into weightlifting and going to the gym, was that I kind of felt like I slept better because
Yeah.
the hours are tough. Falling asleep can be tough at times, especially when you have
Yeah.
a family. And just feeling, you get the endorphins out, you feel a little bit better, because some days, especially when there's storm days, I just realized we have all the components for a complete newscast in this podcast right now. We've got traffic, weather, and news. But yeah,
Good. This is all no news, all the banter.
No
That's
thanks.
it.
that's right. That's right. But yeah.
What was I gonna say? I don't even know what I was gonna say. You said something before, and I muted myself because obviously the dog was
Stress.
barking again. This is what I was gonna say, and it took me a while. I don't know if it's a mom thing, but like after having kids, it took me years to really say it's okay to take time for myself, to take care of myself. And I still struggle with that. So my
Yeah.
advice is that maybe don't be that way. You know what I mean? Try your best not to, to take time for self-care, because if you're not good, then you're not good for anyone. But it's so
Totally.
hard to actually.
I work with a great
Yeah.
broadcaster who's been in the New York market for a while, and we kind of had a little powwow one day when we were just shooting the what, and he was like, Jeff, at the end of the day, when work clouds you and you get on the train or you get in the car and you're driving home and you're like, man, I could have done this better today, could have done that better today. Like kind of just like take a step back and realize that who you're doing this for and what you're coming home to, and don't take that home with you. That's something that really hit me at home, because it you think that and listen, our careers are very important to us, not discounting
You
that,
have to
but
make money.
yeah, you have to make a living somehow, but at the end of the day, not everything lasts forever, but your family's there forever.
Yeah.
So leave the work crap at work, and really take the time. That's another great thing is take the time, focus on your career at work, and then when you're home, it's your family, and that's what you're doing it for at the end of the day. And I was like, wow, it's really true. And again, maybe he's my elder. He's been through this longer than I have. I mean, I'm not going to learn everything in a day, so I'm learning. I'm really focusing on being a better listener, like to people like Jackie, who have had kids for 5-10 years, and you really learn a lot. Just learning a lot from you guys. I mean, it's a good growing period, I think, for me.
Yeah,
and will be for you too, Stephanie, in a few months.
Oh my God, I'm so
you.
excited for you, Steph. So what do you see? You hear the dogs growling again in the background. Oh my God, I can't.
That's not
like
you, Jackie.
it's my stomach growling. I think my whole family's upstairs in my bedroom. I think eating pizza, and then like they have to go to lacrosse. Anyway, but talk about a little bit about the business that you're doing with Corey, right? Like that's the new chapter. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Corey has been very successful on social media, especially Instagram. He's been doing the Instagram game since
Those are your
before.
followers too now.
Oh yeah, since before Instagram was a thing, since the very beginning, and his goal has always been to really try to help to educate people on the basics of healthy living and lifestyle, and it was a perfect match for us because I'm into all those things and I've always been too. So, and I come from this world of traditional media, right? TV, news, journalism. And he's in this world of new media where he's, creating all of these things on social media. So it was a really good combination of bringing those two things together. I knew what he was trying to achieve. He taught himself everything with shooting, his content, lighting, microphones, everything. But then I could bring some things to the table that I had learned in my time in TV, and contribute to sort of executive producing some of his content and being more behind the scenes, which honestly, I loved being on TV. I really did. There is a part of me that totally still misses it. But there's this other hermit type part of me that really likes being able to just be in a t-shirt and leggings every day with no makeup at home, writing stuff, telling him to be the face on the camera, and I'm behind the camera, and I'm the Instagram wife, I'm the one shooting him.
That's awesome.
And I really enjoy it. And this is, to what you were saying before, this is a chapter in my life. I really believe that we have this tendency to get stuck in these experiences that we have and thinking that the same experience, being in news or being on TV or being in that, state of, constant running and gutting has to be forever. And or if we leave it behind, we've done something wrong, we've abandoned something or we've lost something. But I really believe that life is about having as many experiences as possible, as many different experiences as possible. So for me, this period between, working in the news and having a baby and having a family is a once in a lifetime thing, because after she's born, that's it.
You and I were talking about this before too, Stephanie, and I totally agree. There's a part of me that wants to be back in front of the camera instead of behind it, but to be able to produce and learn all these other aspects, now there, I feel like now I know everything there is to know about the production side of things. I can walk into a control room, all the lingo, all the abbreviations, all the moving parts that go into a newscast. It's so interesting to know them now. And it just makes you a more well-rounded person, and you experience these new things, you grow. And again, I, for the first maybe month or so after this new gig, was like, oh man, that's it. I'll never get on TV again. I'll never do this again. It's never, never,
Never.
It's
Yeah,
never,
right.
never. You know,
Never say never,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
yeah. So
No, it's so true.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen.
And I think, not to turn around and play host here, but I think we should also mention Jackie's whole new adventure
Yes,
into
I wanted to get to
consulting
that. Thank you for
and
Oh
reminding me.
gosh, I
teaching
wanted
us
this
all to be on, camera, because I just have to say, I used to want to be on the weekends with you, Jackie. I used to
Aw.
want to. I was like, do they need a co-anchor? Because I'll join.
Oh, I would love that.
Um,
Ah.
but you really have the expertise and the knowledge, and I think you're going to be a great teacher to people who want to get into this. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, and I'm excited. I sat there and I did a lot of soul searching and trying to figure out, opportunities of what might be a good next step or fit while balancing life and kids and dogs. And I just, I've been talking about it for a long time. So, and thinking about it, I could never do it, obviously, because of what my position was before. So I just thought, like, let's do media consulting, on-camera coaching, also media like pitch training, like interview boot camp sessions I like offer. So I have a whole list. And then also I want to help the younger generation, young adults, whether you want to get into TV or you just want to learn how to speak to people and
Yep.
what to say in an interview, how to make yourself shine and the things to say where you're not bragging about yourself, but you're putting it into words where someone says, wow, I can, I want that person on my team. And they
Yeah.
spoke so eloquently. They shook my hand firmly. They looked me in the eye and they had that confidence and everything else. So I offer like kind of like a first impressions program too, where
Oh, that's cool.
I'd like to work, with kind of the younger generation too, to give them that confidence, especially these 2 years we've all been holed up in our homes and not really communicating and stuff. I'm sure it's going to be challenging. And not to mention a lot of things I know personally, even just interviews now just on Zoom, which are really awkward because to make a first impression, like even on a Zoom call is very difficult as opposed to in person where
Mhm.
eventually you're hoping to
point.
get into the office and meet somebody in person. So there's a lot of, it's almost like I can help your 18, 17-year-old, or if you're a CEO of a company or you're a politician that like wants to learn how to talk in sound bites, or why does your interview not make the cut, in the media? Like I'll tell you, we'll figure all that out,
Yeah.
And
know you
so I'm
post-
excited.
You knew you posted it yesterday, but why don't you take an opportunity to tell people where they can go?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
very simple.
Very simple. I know.
It's Jackie Lucas, LUKAS.com. And you can see all the services there and you can message me on there. And then I'll message you back as soon as I can. And we can go over exactly what you're looking to do. We can customize packages as well. And I'm excited, and I'm excited too, because I teased it. I'm also going to be kind of working a couple days a week on camera too for something. And that is much more fulfilling, not a grind. And,
Aw.
so, you know what? I'm starting to think that I'm getting in a good place and a good path. So I appreciate, you guys, supporting me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very,
Aw.
very happy to hear that.
So if you know anybody, call me.
I think honestly, and I'm sure you both remember from when you first started on camera, it's like this incredible learning curve of you sort of start out as this like weird version of yourself, and then it's finding a way to come back to being the natural version of yourself, but like
Yes.
slightly elevated. Like, you're what I always felt like was I was broadcasting an energy. And whether that comes from, being on TV or in an interview or talking to someone in person, you're projecting an energy, and you want that to be a positive, enthusiastic, light, happy, pleasant energy.
And you want it to be true to who you
Yes,
are and what your
totally.
personality is, but just elevated a little
Yes.
bit.
People
Not
can
stuffy.
see that, like right off the bat.
Yes.
People notice.
Exactly.
They can and if you're putting on a fake hat, people can read through that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, authenticity really matters. And
it really does.
a lot more people are on camera now because of social media. My husband taught himself how to speak on camera, but it took him years to learn. To have someone like you you could really shortcut a lot of that trial and error by yourself and get that feedback. I know for me in my, TV career, it was very essential for me to get that kind of feedback
Yeah,
of what I could
absolutely.
improve.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I mean, even the TikTok generation. It's like there's a
Yeah.
lot of people. I know a couple, but I'm sure there are thousands and thousands of more that would otherwise be like, "Oh, I'm camera shy. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not good at public speaking." And they make these videos, and you learn, hey, this isn't so hard. So of all, I mean, I know we're in a crazy social media world today, but that's certainly a big positive aspect of, I think, that just easy access. Anybody can be their own on-camera personality, whether it's for a TikTok video or whether it's a Zoom interview
It's
or
true.
something that
Yeah.
gets you the big time.
Well, that's something else that like I offer too, is like a social media strategy analysis where we can go through your page and look at what you're posting, when you're posting, the content you're posting, and how, you're coming across, so you can increase your engagement,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. And that's all so important now, this day and age. I mean, everything. Not only is it your brand, your business, but again, you have to have that all intertwined with social media and all your platforms. It's
Marketability.
overwhelming. Yes.
It's a lot.
And especially for the older generation too, where they're like, oh, I don't know how to navigate through Instagram and Facebook and what I should be writing and how to get followers and X, Y, and Z.
We were talking about that on the last podcast, how like my parents just learned how to use YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
YouTube's been out since like 2006, and it's like and they Facebook. I feel like the older generation is getting good with Facebook now, but then it's like just when you learn one thing, oh, here's another social media platform to learn.
Too many
I
to
feel-
keep up with.
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
It's a
is.
lot. It is a lot, especially if you haven't been doing it since the inception. So
Yeah, but some of those people could be like business owners, right? Who want to promote their business on social media, but they have no idea where to start.
Yeah,
Right.
1,000%.
so this is perfect.
Cool.
Perfect for
Yay!
that.
Oh well, we this is longer than our normal podcast, but I'm okay with it.
Oh, we roll out the red carpet for Steph.
Yeah. Can you come back another time and
Sure.
talk to us? Maybe closer
Always.
to
That's right.
well, maybe we'll like do a midway through your pregnancy and
Okay,
then
check
like,
in.
The midwife's
when
tale.
when the baby's the size of like a
Where are we,
cantaloupe,
cucumber?
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh,
Whatever.
God.
Yeah.
I'll probably have more complaints for you at that point.
Exactly. You'll be like, I just
Jackie,
ate
I
a
thought
dozen eggs. Like,
Why don't you go ahead, Steph, and tell everybody where they can follow you and Corey on your adventures and on your business?
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. So like I said, Corey's page, Corey L. Rodriguez. You can follow me, Stephanie Rose TV. Both are on Instagram. We also have a health newsletter we've been writing where we kind of look at, all recent health research articles. We really go for the scientific stuff and, find just really interesting topics on, like this week I'm talking about goji berries and vision, like how it could help your eyes, which, just all kinds of variety of health topics. That's the Health Squeeze, and you can sign up for that at Corey's page as well.
so is that a website too, or is it just through his
It's a website too.
Instagram?
Thehealthsqueeze.com. I don't know why I
Oh,
sang
I
that,
like
but
it.
there you go.
I think you just came up with a jingle.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you.
And we appreciate everybody listening, watching, subscribe, please. And we hope we kicked off your freaking weekend the right way.
It was a
got it.
pleasure.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much, Steph, for coming on. And we'll see you again. And good luck with your journey.
Thank you.
Jackie's so excited.
I'm so excited.
I've
The
never
baby
seen
pusher.
Jackie smile wider than when we're talking about
Real
babies.
good. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Stephanie Rose, again, thank you for joining us. And thanks, everybody. Bye.